But on the genocide question, it's funny that he kind of patronizingly says, these genocide scholars, they didn't give you the definition. And you rightly said, what's the definition? And he said, forcibly destroying a whole population. That is not the definition of genocide. The 1948 Genocide Convention gives us the definition of genocide. Article 2, it says very clearly that genocide is any of the following acts with the intent to destroy in whole or in part a national, religious, racial, or ethnic group. And one of those acts, killing members of the group, causing serious bodily or mental harm to the group, inflicting conditions of life on a group that cause its physical destruction, preventing births within that group, and taking children away from that group and giving it to another group.
Hey, that right there is an intellectual progressive. That is how we're supposed to do it. That right there is bars. Mr. Ben Shapiro can learn something here. So it's for a while, which, I mean, not even a while. I think a lot of people have been calling out what Israel is doing to the Palestinian people in the past few days. Like, they've been bombing the hell out of a lot of countries. Like, it's just so much to try to keep up with. But a lot of people have been calling what Israel is doing to the Palestinian people a genocide. And yes, I'm going to say genocide. I know YouTube is not going to like it, but hey, this is how we operate over here. So, hey, this video is not going to get a lot of views, which is fine. I'm okay with it. We got to stand on business where we're talking about truth. But once again, people need to understand what a genocide is and the importance of understanding the gravity of the situation. And this is one thing that I wish Bernie Sanders would watch this video. Hey, someone send this video to Mr. Bernie Sanders so maybe he can learn something, okay? He's not too old to still learn something, okay? It is important that we use these words that were created in the English language for a reason, because it lets people know that this is an important situation here. This is not like any regular war or situation between two countries or two people. This increases the severity of the conversation. So when you say genocide, that's supposed to mean something. Okay, let me break it down to you. 3 reasons why it is important to call this a genocide. 1, genocide is a crime under international law. So using the term holds leaders responsible. That is why words matter. You just don't call anything and everything a genocide, because that waters down the word and the severity of it. That's why it's important not to just call anything and everything a genocide. 2, it frames the reality, a deliberate destruction of a people and not just a conflict, which once again, I even caught myself saying that sometimes. Oh, this situation. Oh, this conflict. Oh, this war. This is not a war. Usually war consists of 2 parties with a mass amount of casualties. No, if you look at the stats once again, it'll take, I think it was 70 October 7th to match how many Palestinian people have died so far, or at least accounted for. It would take 70 October 7th. So if you're mad about October 7th, you should be extremely upset about what Israel is doing to the Palestinian people. Number 3, calling it genocide pressures governments and institutions to intervene. Once again, words matter. Now, when it comes to the Breakfast Club, hey, once again, I struggle with them. Like they had Ben Shapiro on a few days ago, and let Ben Shapiro say whatever and however. Very little pushback. Once again, someone like Charlamagne the God and his crew, they're not built for these conversations, especially with a Ben Shapiro. So even in my video, I was like, I wish somebody could challenge this guy on all the BS that he was spewing on the Breakfast Club. And then God heard my cries. And he sent Medi, Hassan, to the rescue. And I gotta be honest, when I seen Mehdi Hassan on the Breakfast Club, hey, I wanted to shed a tear. I was like, hey, Mehdi brings that fire. And I knew he was going to do it, and he didn't let me down. So let's go ahead, get Mr. Mehdi Hassan on here. Let's see. We need to go 514. Let's go ahead, pause that. All right. And then, of course, we need to throw this up here. Once again, this is for copyright purposes. We ain't trying to get in trouble by YouTube. Unfortunately, that's how that goes. So once again, this is copyright purposes. Don't ask me in the comments. I'm telling you right now. All right, let's take a listen.
Okay, the way building up the international order. It's all been burned down over the last 2 years for one guy, Netanyahu.
Now, Ben Shapiro was here earlier this week, and you hit me.
Why you start laughing like that? Why you start giggling like
you hit me
that?
and you gave a BS answer on genocide.
Oh yeah.
What exactly? What you want to? We have a clip. You don't think what's happening in Gaza is a genocide?
Correct.
Okay, but the world's leading association of genocide scholars has declared that Israel is committing genocide in Gaza based off the pure definition of.
Well, it's not actually, if you read their actual study, it's not based on the quote-unquote pure definition of genocide. They don't actually even define genocide in the document. The question is not whether some sort of coterie of people who call themselves experts in an issue are quote-unquote experts on the issue. The question is whether the definition is met. The definition of genocide is not met in Gaza by any stretch of the imagination, and you can cite to me, a group that I hadn't heard of until 2 seconds ago, and nobody had heard of until 2 seconds ago, that voted in a particular way. That doesn't make a difference definitionally.
So what is a genocide to you?
A genocide is the attempt to forcibly destroy an entire population, which is not what has happened.
So it's not the attacks on like the personal facilities needed for like survival, like healthcare and educational institutions.
Well, again, Israel has shipped in more humanitarian aid into the Gaza Strip than literally any army to in a population that supports the enemy in literally all of human history. They've been shipping in about 4,400 calories per day per person into the Gaza Strip in the middle of a war in which the enemy is holding actual Israeli hostages underground who, as we've seen from some of the pictures, are actually starving.
Man, he's going crazy over there.
God, I think you're being generous. You said he gave you some bullshit on genocide. He gave you bullshit on the whole topic, right?
Hey.
He said we don't give them that much money. We give them $3 billion a year. We actually give them close to $4 billion a year, and last year we gave them $18 billion a year. He said they've been shipping in aid. You just played that clip. Israel doesn't ship in any aid. The aid comes from everyone else. He acts like Israel's giving the aid. It's international aid that Israel decides to switch on and off whenever it wants. But on the genocide question, it's funny that he kind of patronizingly says, these genocide scholars, they didn't give you the definition. And you rightly said, what's the definition? And he said, forcibly destroying a whole population. That is not the definition of genocide. The 1948 Genocide Convention gives us the definition of genocide. Article 2, it says very clearly that genocide is any of the following acts with the intent to destroy in whole or in part a national, religious, racial, or ethnic group. And one of those acts, killing members of the group, causing serious bodily or mental harm to the group, inflicting conditions of life on a group that cause its physical destruction, preventing births within that group, and taking children away from that group and giving it to another group.
Hey, that right there is an intellectual progressive. That is how we're supposed to do it. That right there is bars. Mr. Ben Shapiro can learn something here. We just watched Ben Shapiro try to weasel his way into explaining what a genocide is. Charlemagne the guy asked him, well, what is a genocide? And he gave some whack answers, which once again, we talked about it on this show. That wasn't even close to a definition of a genocide. Because once again, it has to meet requirements. So it's not just a sentence. It's a list of requirements that have to be met, or at least majority of them. And right here, Mehdi Hassan, the gangster he is setting the record straight. This is how you beat them right here. We need more Mehdi Hassans and less people just complaining about some things and not putting their feet to action. Educate yourself, learn something. So when you have these conversations, when you're engaging with idiots, you can slap them around intellectually right here with facts. And I bet you, I put my last dollar on it. Ben Shapiro could never, ever in his life, in any lifetime, okay? He can be reincarnated into another Ben Shapiro and he will still fall short against someone like a Medi Hassan. Simple. That's why you will never see Medi Hassan and Ben Shapiro debating. It's not going to work, especially not now, okay? All right, enough. My bad. Let's continue.
5 conditions. Israel's met at least 4 of those 5 conditions by any sane description of what they've done in Gaza. It is a genocide based on those conditions. The Israelis are saying it's a genocide. Just listen to what they say. They say genocidal stuff all the time. And here's the worst part. Israeli, he brushes over the IAGS, some organization I've never heard of. Well, I'm sure they don't care that he's never heard of them. They are the International Association of Genocide Scholars. But let me just give for your listeners actual people who say it meets the definition. People like Omar Bartov, who is an Israeli Holocaust historian at Brown, wrote a New York Times op-ed saying it's a genocide. Daniel Blattman, Amos Goldberg, Israeli Holocaust historians at Hebrew University. They say it's a genocide in Gaza. Shmuel Liederman, all these Israeli scholars, Raz Siegel, none of them, by the way, all of them said, we didn't think it was a genocide at the beginning, but we definitely think it's a genocide now. These are Israeli Jewish experts on the Holocaust. They're saying it's a genocide. Are we supposed to just ignore them?
What determines a genocide?
Hey, that's bars right there. Once again, you can't go so far down the rabbit hole of it's Hamas. It's Hamas. They're Hamas sympathizers. They're Hamas believers, whatever they want to call it. Like, no, these are Israeli people, citizens, Jewish individuals who are saying the same thing. So unless you think it's some big conspiracy that Hamas is like controlling the whole world, then yeah, I guess, right? Yeah, sure. All these people are just like doing this to make Israel fall. Or just maybe it's as simple as people with the eyeballs in their head, okay? And with me, I got 4 eyes right now, so I can see 4 times as better as some people, okay? If you got the eyes to see and the ears to hear and the mind to comprehend, you can't say nothing less. Once again, we already been through the numbers. We already been through the distraction. You'd be crazy to sit here and say after a year and some change later, be like, nah, Israel still has the right to defend itself after killing almost 80,000 people, demolishing over 80% of Gaza. Like, yeah, great defense. Okay, sure, got you.
Genocide. The reason I asked that question is because I feel like most war can be classified as a genocide.
It's the intent, right?
Okay.
So if you express intent to destroy this group because of who they are, because of their national, ethnic, religious, racial characteristics, that's what makes it just a war, like the Iraq invasion. Killed maybe 1 million people. But no, most people don't accuse George Bush of a genocide because the goal was probably oil, security, whatever you want to say. It's protecting Israel. It wasn't to destroy Iraqis for being Iraqis. But here the Israeli government is saying, we want to destroy Palestinians. We want to wipe out Gaza. We want to disassemble Gaza, to quote Bezalel Smotrich, leave it in piles of rubble. And it's so interesting when you talk about intent and what makes a genocide. It's not about killings. Ben Shapiro says that the Chinese are guilty of genocide in Xinjiang against the Uyghurs, right? And I agree with him. I think it is a genocide in Xinjiang, but they haven't mass killed the Uyghurs. They've locked them up in camps. They've tortured them. They've prevented them from using Muslim names. They've broken down mosques, intent to destroy a group. But they haven't mass killed them like in Gaza. But Ben says it's a genocide in Xinjiang. That's weird. He says Syria is a genocide, even though Bashar al-Assad didn't say anything as close to genocidal as the Israeli government. Bashar al-Assad killed around 1 to 2% of his population over 10 years. Netanyahu has killed minimum 3% of the Gaza population in less than 2 years. So why is Syria a genocide and not Gaza, Ben?
I saw a lot of...
Hey, Ben, once again, hey, the ball's in your court now. Now, this is the importance of being well-rounded, learned when it comes to foreign affairs. Once again, I'm still trying to step my game up. I'm still trying to get my weight up intellectually, because you need to be able to understand conflicts that had happened between other nations. So now you can have those deeper conversations when it comes to what is a genocide and what is not a genocide. Like, man, and this takes years. Trust me, I only really been doing this for the past 2 years. Trust me, I got a long way to go, but it's necessary. This thing right here, this is how you beat them. You need to be intellectually equipped to break down all the nonsense like someone like a Ben Shapiro puts up every single day. Once again, step your game up. Get your weight up. I'm talking to myself too. And if you're watching this, I'm asking you, step your game up. If you're real about this progressive movement and getting this progressive thoughts more than just a thought and actually into office, we need to be able to educate people. And that all starts with ourselves. Hey, there you go.
A Jewish, I guess, correspondents on YouTube talking about the interview with Shapiro here, and a lot of them were saying that if it was a genocide, Israel could wipe them out in 1 second. If it was actually a genocide, they could just take them all out if they wanted to.
But
and they were saying that's why it's not.
So Piers Morgan used to use that line on me whenever I went on his show. He's like, well, you could just wipe them out. They have nuclear weapons, which they deny having, but they do. What's funny is, again, Joe Biden, the US government, says that Ukraine is a genocide. Vladimir Putin could wipe out Ukraine with a nuke tomorrow. Why is that not a factor? The Chinese have nukes. They could wipe out the Uyghurs. I mean, it's a dumb argument to say you could kill everyone. We haven't. There's reasons why they haven't killed everyone, because they probably think we're not at that point of impunity. Although, again, Smotrich, finance minister, what did he say last year? He said, starve everyone in Gaza if I could. Morally, it's justified. It's just we can't get away with it. Sadly, they are getting away with it. They have starved a lot of people in Gaza. So it's a ridiculous argument to say we could kill everyone. That's why it's not a genocide. But the genocide definition isn't killing everyone. There are multiple genocides, as I say, Xinjiang, people say Ukraine, the Rohingyas in Myanmar, right? That's a genocide. Most people accept that's a genocide. They didn't kill everyone. They killed, I think, 70,000 people. Horrible. But they didn't kill all the Rohingyas.
So we'll never get to a ceasefire. This will never happen.
Hey, once again, if you guys want to watch the entire interview, once again, we'll be here all day, because this is nothing but food. Intellectual food to put meat on your bones right here. If you want to watch the entire thing, just search up The Breakfast Club. Okay, I'm pretty sure you already know. But once again, that is how it's done. Right there, a master at work. Once again, people like Medi, Hassan inspire me to step my intellectual game up. And that's the only way to beat people like Shapiro. But hey, there we go. Nothing but bars. Hey.
I've been wanting this shit forever. I've been in the field with whatever they throw at me. Brush it off, pick myself up, moving on to the better. Hey. Ain't no errors, baby, it's a new era. I wake up early, feeling rich like I'm Kesha. I get to the paper, boy. Extra, extra.